Tonight at 6, a push for more safety at a busy Fort Smith intersection. The city is installing new traffic signs to protect drivers as they work to make transportation safer. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi has more on how the newest installation is supposed to protect drivers.
For 22 years, always. And I'm surprised they haven't done something already.
Richard Corley has owned Rick's 66th Street Salon for over 20 years and says the busy junction right in front of his business has been a problem area the whole time.
Before, you might see 1 or 2 a month, but now it seems like it's just weekly, and sometimes a couple a day. They'll get one cleaned up and it'll happen again.
To counter traffic accidents caused by eager drivers looking to make a left turn in potentially unsafe conditions, the city has installed 2 new right turn only signals. In the span of a year, the police department says there have been 11 accidents.
It's already on the surface, it's a pretty risky spot to attempt something like that. So we just wanted the streets department, we got with them, and they were very helpful in getting that signage up to try and make that more obvious to motorists that don't try that.
Eric Mitchell with Fort Smith Police says the department's newly implemented 8-person traffic unit helps analyze crash data to help make the city safer.
Whenever you can get that special focus on a problem that you know exists, you can implement some better means of addressing it.
Additional city measures to address driver and pedestrian safety in the city include the installation of always stops, rectangular rapid flashing beacons for pedestrian safety, and other intersection enhancements. FSPD adds that they are still enforcing their no tolerance policy on jaywalking.
One thing for sure is that we haven't had a surge in those vehicle pedestrian accidents that we were experiencing at the tail end, and I think that the proactiveness of jumping on things like jaywalking, but also enforcing it from the other end as well with motorists too.
Mitchell says the city has to be proactive to help keep residents safe.
I think it's been successful so far, but it also you also have to maintain it. You got to be vigilant about not letting those behaviors slip back into the city.
In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All new at 6, we're learning the man accused of leaving the scene of a deadly crash is now pleading not guilty. John Bailey was last arrested last week after the crash on Tennessee Ridge Road just south of Fort Smith. The motorcyclist that was hit was rushed to the hospital, but he later died. He's now charged with leaving the scene in negligent homicide. Happening right now, burn bans are still in place across our area. That means a complete no-go on burning trash, debris, brush, and any other materials until further notice. Leaders want to make sure a small fire doesn't grow out of control like we've previously seen. Scott, it's been a beautiful day today, but like you said, we need some rain.
And I think we're going to get some. We're going to have to wait a few more days, and that may be some good news for area kids that are out enjoying spring break. But certainly by the end of the week, things get a bit more active when it comes to rain chances, maybe some storm chances is there as well. We're really looking at Friday into the weekend, a series of disturbances moving through the area. Out there right now, nice and comfortable. 78 currently in Fort Smith, 72 Fayetteville, sitting at 74 at Ozark and Clarksville, 69 the current temperature in West Fork. We'll see these numbers slowly decreasing to around 50 or so tomorrow morning. Partly to mostly cloudy skies out there. We'll see a little bit of sunshine here and there. By lunchtime, nice and comfortable at 70 in Northwest Arkansas. Will eventually top out in those mid 70s. In the River Valley, a tad warmer. We're probably going to be making our way into the low 80s. We'll probably be in the low 80s just about every afternoon this week until we get those rain chances to increase for us. When it comes to what we're tracking, just to name a few things, nice, comfortable weather for the next several days. Late week rain chances. And as you well know, it's tough to get rain this time of the year without at least a chance of some storms. And it looks like we're going to have a couple of opportunities for just that. We'll take a look at when and how it could impact your weekend plans here in just a couple minutes.
Well, Hawk fans are still riding the high after the Razorbacks took down number 2 seed St. John's on Friday. The team is now headed out west to San Francisco to take on the Red Raiders on Thursday night. Sports director Alex Rector is going to have a full recap of that game coming up in just a bit in sports. First, though, concerns over the number of measles cases in Texas. Tonight, the number of cases has jumped to 309, surpassing the nationwide total in 2024. The Texas Department of State Health Services says at least 40 people have been hospitalized so far and has spread to 18 states across the U.S. Now, some parents may have questions on how to protect their kids and themselves. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis is here, and Kayla, you spoke with the director who has some answers.
That's right, Rachel. Like you said, the CDC says across 18 states, those numbers are growing, especially in West Texas. Today, the Arkansas Department of Health confirmed with me there are 0 reported cases of measles in the state, but vaccination rates for the disease in over 50 Arkansas counties are under 95%, the percentage needed for herd immunity. Measles vaccination is generally given to babies between 6 months and 1 year, and then again between ages 4 and 6. 1 dose of vaccine provides about 93 to 94% of people protection for life, but 2 doses gets that number up to right around 97%. If you or your child are not vaccinated, but you would like to be, it's not too late to receive the MMR vaccine.
Measles can cause pneumonia. It can suppress your immune system. It puts you at risk for numerous bacterial infections. And even if you recover from measles, it can damage your immune system and set you up for lifelong health problems, either with immune suppression, or you can develop recurrent neurologic disease that can be devastating and kill people.
The CDC says symptoms of measles include high fever, a runny nose, red watery eyes, a cough, and a rash. Kayla Davis, 5 News.
All right, thanks, Kayla. Also new tonight, President Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum are now in effect. But what does that mean for Arkansas? Maya Ellison uncovers the facts and possible concerns.
It's not the first time we've had tariffs on steel. Going back to even back in the 1980s, George W. Bush put tariffs on steel in the early 2000s.
Decades later, and conversations arise again, this time during Donald Trump's presidency.
It puts a 25% tariff across the board on all imported steel and aluminum.
Tariffs have been a hot topic, but those like UA Little Rock professor Michael Packo wants you to understand its effects towards the economy right here in the natural state.
We would expect that these tariffs will positively impact steel producers, and that includes those that are here in Arkansas. It also means that there are going to be higher costs to consumers, difficulties with manufacturers who use inputs of steel and aluminum into their production process.
Lexicon CEO Patrick Scheck says there's another side to note.
Could potentially affect what we do, which is fabrication of structural steel. The way the fabrication industry works is steel that is produced, which means it's taken from scrap metal and turned into I-beams, is made in the United States.
A report from U.S. Steel showed the industry generates an economic impact of $383 million in Arkansas. Mississippi County was named as one of the largest steel-producing counties in the nation, positively impacting companies like Lexicon, but affecting exporters such as Canada.
If everything goes into effect, say Canada, for instance, would experience the 25% tariff on steel and the 25% on Canadian goods for a total of 50% tariff. That would pretty much make Canadian steel unaffordable here in the United States.
In turn, boosting domestic steel production in the U.S. The impact for those at home will all come down to the cost, affecting everyday items such as cars, home appliances, and more.
You can think about the tariff as creating now 2 kinds of steel. There's imported steel that includes the tariff, and there's domestically produced steel that doesn't.
UA Fort Smith is launching a new scholarship program to help get rid of financial barriers for students. The program, UFIS Guarantee, will look to cover tuition and mandatory fees after eligible students apply for grants, scholarships, and other financial aid. The program is meant for undergraduate, degree-seeking students who live in Arkansas and meet specific financial aid criteria. The university says it's all about creating more opportunities.
We have about 60% of our students right now who do receive Pell Grants. So we know that this is a huge need for our students, and true to our mission, we're trying to make getting an education accessible to them.
Students do not need to submit a separate application for the program, but will still have to complete their FAFSA and SAMS applications.